You can tell the season's well underway. These videos have started being a bit slower coming out, but I'm still keeping up with the new shows, just about. So join me as I look at 4 new shows today, and I'll tell you what I think of them. Because as ever, this is the 2018 Summer Anime Preview, from a different perspective. Dropkick on My Devil is a bit of an unknown thing to me. I like the name of the show, so I was interested in seeing what it turned out to be. And the fact it's a sort of slapstick comedy doesn't surprise me one bit. It's a story about a bunch of girls who have fun together, and it gets a bit violent. But that doesn't really play it justice, does it? It's a show about a bunch of monster girls and the girl who summoned them. It's mainly about the main 2 characters, Urine, who is a sort of gothic Lolita type character, very straightforward, very straight-faced, and the rather outburstish, topless snake girl which she summons. Of course, they always want to kill each other. Specifically, Jashin wants to kill Urine. Of course, she never does, which always lends to a hilarious result, with Urine chopping off Jashin's tail and remeating it. Yep, this has got serious vibes of Dragon Maid with it, except there's no maids or dragons, but there is Medusa. Medusa's pretty cute. And there's a Minotaur girl who is just there. Oh, and there's also an angel. Well, I would say fallen angel, but she's not apparently fallen, she just lost her halo. But Bakura she's probably the most interesting character actually out of a lot of them, because she's not a monster girl, she's an angel girl. And she really just looks depressed and doesn't want to be there. Just getting dragged along by these demon girls all over the place. The comedy itself is relatively base level. It is very much slapstick. As to the longevity of the show, I'm not quite sure whether or not it's going to be good or bad, to be honest. It's sticking to the same sort of joke format, but it seems to have a lot more characters being introduced throughout later episodes, at least on the intro anyway. It looks a bit of lighter-hearted fun. I'm not going to give it the gold star it really wants, but I'm not going to say to avoid it either. It's a decent show. If you get tired, stop watching it. You haven't really missed much. But you might have a few laughs once in a while, because it's airing over on Amazon. So, Phantom of the Twilight. First thing I see when I watch the episode, a bunch of pretty boys in a cafe. Sort of soft jazz music playing in the background, and a pretty attractive young lady running in, following a paper airplane. Going to walk into a back shop and be confronted by the main pretty boy of a bunch. Yep, I think I know where this show is going. Apparently London, because this is where this show is based. It's based in London, and whilst I've got to be honest, I can probably count the amount of times I've been to London on 2 hands. I'm not too familiar with the layout and the architecture, what you expect there. From what I know about London, what I've seen on TV, and what I know from just general UK living, it's a pretty decent representation. I mean, they've definitely done some scouting of the locations and the architecture. I mean, first arriving in Heathrow, the actual signs are exactly what you expect, exactly where you expect them to be. I know signs in Heathrow is exactly the epitome of architectural design, but it's an easy thing to get wrong with little minor details. And things like the little minor details on the train. I mean, first of all, it's the right type of train coming from Heathrow down to London. Even though it's an overground, it is an underground train they use, because the trains do go overground as well, those trains. One thing I will say, there's no way in hell a train would be that empty at that time of day in London, especially away from Heathrow. But, yeah, Phantom of the Twilight. It looks to be a basic for Joshi Bait, Otome game type adaptation. And you'd be kind of right actually. I don't know if it is actually an utter gay game or for Joshi show, but it's pretty boys and a couple of girls in London. What I didn't expect to find was a gripping plot, and despite the show really not being aimed at me, I have to say I quite enjoyed the first episode. It gripped me to the edge of a seat. I mean, I kind of knew what was going to happen. The main character is somehow connected to a past of these undead people. You've got a werewolf, you've got a vampire, and you've got a guy with a machine gun. I've no idea what he is. If you know, let me know. So I think the main character, Balotan, is actually from China rather than Japan. Wouldn't surprise me to see if this is a Chinese adaptation rather than a Japanese adaptation. But it's definitely got the Japanese Seiyu in it, so I mean it's kind of Hana as the main character, which is also a plus point for me. But yeah, it has action, it has interesting characters. I mean, what more can you want, really? I mean, the plot is a bit cliche. I mean, the entire thing screams like an episode or a book of Twilight, or the whole thing screams like you're watching a Twilight film. But again, for its fan base, that's what you want to do, really. You want to show them what they want to watch, and a lot of Joshi really want to watch hot vampire boys swooning over relatively normal looking girls. However, Tana really isn't a normal looking girl. She is kind of badass in her own way. And as I mentioned before, she does have a connection to the history of the undead people. Her great grandmother owns a shop they run, or owned anyway when she was alive. And it seems like Tana's actually picked up on the family skills. Now, as I go into the show, I was expecting to label it red, maybe push an amber if it's lucky. Because everything else I can see about this show screams to me, stay away. However, having watched it, it probably isn't the type of show for me. If I was doing it based on my own personal preferences, I would probably go amber. But I've got to say, if you like this kind of show, you should watch it. It's actually pretty decent. I mean, I'm probably going to give a few more episodes a go because I like the look of it as well. You can find it airing over on Crunchyroll. Haven't we had this show already? I could swear I'd just seen the show, which was pretty much exactly the same as this. It starts off with a pretty girl entering a bar and being confronted with pretty boys. Yep, this is a lot like that Phantom show I just watched, only set in Kyoto. Or I assume it is, based on the title of the series anyway. But unlike the last one, this one is not supernatural in any way. It's actually more of a mystery series. And apparently it's based on light novels, which is always a positive in my book. Well, in most cases it's positive, because normally you've got a lot more story to deal from, but still you still got all that tuny crap which we could do without. But yeah, Homes of Kyoto, and I apologise if I call it Homes on the Hammer or Homes of Japan all the time, because I just keep getting that name wrong. Homes of Kyoto is about the main character Aoi, the girl, and how she comes to work in the antique shop. I'm not quite sure what it's called. I think it had a name, but for life of me I can't remember it. And her boss, who isn't actually the owner of the shop, he is the son of the manager and the grandson of the actual owner, but he's the guy who actually runs the place most of the time. And he's a student who is going to Kyoto University. Now, he didn't get in through his smarts and wiles, he actually got in a postgrad course because it's easy to get in there. It's better on his resume. But he's a student at Kyoto University, which is definitely something to cheer about. And so, what do we have in this show? It looks like the actual cafe we are talking about isn't actually a cafe at all. It's actually an antique shop with a little side business of selling drinks. People always go into that shop to get things assessed and to find out what things are actually worth. And of course, the first thing we find is that he also can tell what fakes are, because he deduces a very well designed fake. Actually, it's actually quite a hard one to deduce, but there's a reason why he's got the nickname Holmes. And no, I don't think it really is something to do with his name, despite what he tries to get away with saying. Yep, the main character's male friend in this one, her boss effectively, is Kiyotaka, otherwise known as Holmes. And he really does hold true to his name. He's an expert at deducing things. He can pretty much tell what anybody's thinking before they even start thinking it. Although, let's be honest, with Aoi it's quite easy. It's pretty much always written on her face exactly what she's saying, and you can just look down and read the subtitles if you want to know what she's actually saying. It's like it says it right there, even if she's not speaking out loud. Now, I said this when I was watching Phantom, and I'll say this again, I'm not a fan of this type of show. I mean, thankfully, this one does not seem to be as much of a Fujoshi show as the last one. But I don't normally go for the pretty boys solving riddles shows. Personal preference, let's call it. But this one, I didn't think I'd like it, but I just found myself watching it and wanting to watch more of it. There's something about, not so much about Kiyotaka, about Holmes, about Aoi. She's got something about her. She's also got a discerning eye. And it'll be interesting to see whether or not Aoi turns into Kiyotaka's Watson. Because every good Holmes needs a Watson, doesn't it? Even if that Watson is actually Lucy Liu, which Aoi isn't. If you do want to watch this yourself, you can find it over on Crunchyroll. There are some things I don't really like when I look at the anime preview list for the start of the season. I look at the shows, and anything which seems too violent or too historic normally puts me to sleep, and so I pretty much ignore them. And so, because I run through every new show which isn't a spin-off or sequel of something I didn't watch, I come across this new show, Angor Moise, Record of Mongol Invasion. Now, from the entire look of the show, and right from the outset, it really does seem to be one of those violent historical pieces. It's got that sort of grainy effect you get on the old Three Kingdoms and Warring States era shows. It is intentionally made to look old, which again sort of puts me off. It's that gritty, grimy, this is old thing, you should pay attention to it vibe. But one thing which I have learned recently is you don't just judge a book by its cover. I mean, if I was doing that, I would have probably turned off Golden Kamuy after the first few minutes, because all I saw was this Japanese soldier going ham on a bunch of Russian guys. Blood flying everywhere, heads flying, fingers poked in eyes. Definitely not my cup of tea. And that's the sort of vibe I got off Angor Moise. But I gave it the rest of its show, and I've got to say, I'm quite impressed. The whole concept of it is pretty interesting. It is a proper historic piece. It's about the invasion of Japan by the Mongols, as the name kind of gives away, and how the Japanese people were actually sending their convicts over there to the island of Tsushima, which was the first place the Mongols were going to attack, to pretty much fight the Mongols. Instead of killing the convicts, they're sending them over to fight the wars for them. I mean, we just send ours to Australia, so what else can you do? But we're introduced to a main character who is Jinzaburo. He's a former Kamakura warrior, and he did something not bad enough to be sentenced to death, or he would have done, but he's actually sent to exile instead for obvious reasons. And him and his band of other prisoners on the boat, they rise up, they end up getting carried on, jailed on Tsushima, and told quite firmly by the princess, Teruhi, that you are here only to fight for us, you'll give your life to us. You'll go and die in this war. It's better than dying for no reason, isn't it? And of course, these are prisoners. They don't give a damn. Death, life, it doesn't really matter. Might as well get a tattoo on the back if you want to. But one thing to leads to another, and it turns out that Teruhi isn't actually as firm and strict as she appears to be. She's actually putting on an act to try and get her place of home sorted and safe. And despite the prisoners saying they don't really want to fight, when push comes to shove, they do. They defend the place, and through Jinzaburo's fighting, and he was pretty much against the whole thing, he saw straight through her even before she opened her mouth. He ends up pretty much saving her and fighting off the main bad guy, who's actually using a very similar swordplay to himself. Now, it wasn't the action which really got me this show on its edge. I mean, I liked the action was pretty decent. It was actually the whole world and the whole world view of it. It's an interesting piece of history. It's not one I've really read too much about, so this will be a first experience for me as well. Now, on the risk of being very positive at this point, I think you should watch it. Give it a try at least anyway, but I'm going to watch it. And I do think you should as well. It is airing over at Crunchyroll. You know, when I looked at the 4 shows I was looking at today, I didn't hold out much hope. I saw 2 for Joshi Bait, a historical piece, and a silly Monster Girl comedy. But thankfully I'm wrong. Will I be wrong next time? Join me then. Bye bye.